By the way, thanks for coming. And but I guess I'm going to show for this little presentation a hand through some of the works that I've done that are site specific, and that have been inspired by the spaces that replaced it. Well, I'll start by saying I think when Dan invited me to be in the show, I had this idea of what I was going to do when I already decided this brand was going to go in what we describe as a very large space that they have for Miami. And then it's often happened to me, I ended up going there and I realized it was a completely different space and feeling. And I was very infatuated by New Orleans, and I haven't had that feeling since I first moved to New York. And coming from a country where people fall in love with the country when they visit, I felt a little weird, but I really took to it. There was something about it that was very interesting and familiar. And I left Kenya at the height of very corrupt second presidency. The dictatorship was at its maximum and its best. And a lot of the things that were going on in Kenya at that time, I felt that energy was actually in New Orleans, that slipperiness and lack of responsibility and sort of the way that people adjust to things and improvise their lives and create really fascinating, creative means of existing where it seems like the state has let go of them. So I was very excited when I left and I realized I can deal with this. These people are coming from the same place I came from. Anyway, this piece here, the Master's Duel is over, is a work I did in Marfa in Texas. And Marfa is a very strange place because it has this phenomenal art organizations. There's the Donald Judd space, and then there's also this wonderful place, the ballroom actually, in Marfa that we showed at. And but it's an incredibly poor city, and so 30% or 30% of the population is this very artsy sort of expatriate community that does this wonderful work, and the rest is for the Southern Texans. I started using wine when I was in Texas, and I was interested in going back to that again and investigating what it is about wine and Catholicism and ritual and waste that could be interpreted into this. So I made these attractions for a work in Spain, and they're actually a little bit, they mimic the mast of a ship, because the piece was done in Sevilla and in a ship building, actually a very old building, and I wanted to sort of play between the crucifix and this ship mast. Anyway, so this piece is actually a reinterpretation in Russia. So these plates, which the reason I use these plates is because they're very familiar to me. And when I first started collecting them, it didn't occur to me until I combined them with the wine, and I started to remember that we used to use these plates when we would slaughter chickens or kill an animal to eat. Especially in Russia, we use this plate because it's enamel and it's completely impervious and easy to clean. This little girl is rescuing bugs out of all the wine. She did it almost all night, but she's so spindly and looks like a work. I thought I would keep her there. And so this is the plates, as you can see, they are embedded in the ground, and the wine starts to evaporate with time. This one you can sort of see the image of the wine on top of it. Some of them were in the ground, they were dug into the ground, and others were on these little pedestals. This is just details of the ones you can see. And as you can see, this enamel, this flakes off after a while. This is obviously a plate that you find, to me it's like a poor person's china. It's found everywhere, especially in developing nations, and it's used for all manner of things, and it's got always this beautiful design on it. This next work is done in Atlanta, and it's also a remake of a work that I did in Memphis, Tennessee. And I was trying to think about some of the things that I had encountered in Memphis when I was there. And of course, the main thing was the music, and something very rural, and also, again, very, very poor, which I always find to be unusual. But I think the longer you stay in New York, the more you fit with sort of in this very rich country where everyone is up to a certain level fairly well taken care of, and then you go to these places and it really feels like you're in another country. So these clothes were bought, this massive amount of clothing was bought from all of these secondhand stores in Memphis. And at the show that I did in Memphis, they were hung in this particular installation. I decided to pile them together almost as a sort of an homage to an ascension of some kind of mass transcendence of bodies, and they're all black and blue, and there was an idea of playing with the wood and the color. On them is also European wine, and in this case, the wine ended up turning. It ended up bringing out the mold and the age and the clothing, and of course, because it's wine, it has its organic quality. But I love the marks on the clothing that it left. In some ways, when I make collage, I try very hard, and eventually when I don't try so hard, I come up with effects that are very much like a sort of natural growth and moldy sort of effect. This is a work I did in Denver. I had a site, my site in Denver, the Museum of Contemporary Art, which was recently opened in the fall. It was designed by Denver Jane. I was given this, I call it a hallway, but they call it a promenade. But it was beautiful because there was this massive window, and it was like a light box. It was from ceiling to floor, glowing light. And if anybody knows Denver, you know how gorgeous and stunning the light is. So this light shone onto the wall that I was given, and this floor was very obsidian black. It was very beautiful. So I made this work that literally poured off of the wall, and it's all made out of tape. And at this point, I'm beginning to really consider materials and try to think about using materials that are easy to recycle, easy to reuse, or disposable to some degree. Not so much as tape, but I actually do take some of this tape back and make it into things. So I made this sort of landscape. I wanted people to walk through it and kind of make this journey through this landscape. Honey-flavored milk, calm, your pig-fed rage is the name of this work, and I sometimes I don't remember the title of the long. But there you can see the contrast between the floor and the tape, and the mountainous-looking aspects. And this is another aspect. It was a wonderful window, which unfortunately was not fully completed, so I didn't manage to tighten up this piece. But it's this web of shoes and pipes that lead into another work that I'm going to show. But there's a nice effect that I wanted to get, which is also the drawing, this kind of organic drawing. So this work is called Dirty Water, and it's actually a work that I did in London, and it's siphoning water from the Regent's Canal, which is outside of this gallery, Victoria Mill Gallery, and bringing this dirtiness, this like waste, this thing that we don't normally want in the gallery into the gallery through a piping system, and using that water to create this moistness in which these shoes and pipes were kind of strewn around and organized around, and it was I wanted the experience to be sensual and kind of people to sort of enjoy the meandering through because it is quite dark. See the next one, I think you might see the lighting in there. And it has many different, I mean, I don't like to describe the effect the work has. It always depends on whether you were there or not. It has many different, it resonates in different ways for different people. So Miss Sarah is this amazing woman that I found out about. Dan mentioned Keith and Chandra. They were one of the last people I went to visit on my first time I went to New Orleans. And when I was walking through their space, which they're renovating and doing a fantastic job recreating and turning into this incredibly beautiful gallery, I kept looking through the door and going, well, what's over there? Because there's this very neat patch of land that was empty except for this beautiful wooden foundation. And it was all very familial and a sweet environment of these people. There were some of the two of the loveliest people I met, and also very intensely dedicated to their work as artists and as people who document the place that they live in. Anyway, they said to me, oh, that's Miss Sarah's piece of land. And I said, well, where's Miss Sarah? I said, Miss Sarah's living in Mutu somewhere else. So it turns out that Miss Sarah is this wonderful woman whose house was somewhat destroyed and in a state that she couldn't live in after the Katrina and the flood and so forth. And her house was demolished, like many of the houses in New Orleans in that particular area, the Lower Ninth Ward. Unfortunately, after the demolition, all kinds of bureaucratic issues popped up as far as trying to rebuild the house and get insurance and all kinds of things. And so the next chapter after that is that she ends up losing pretty much everything that it takes to rebuild that house. So I'm going to use her platform, which is this foundation, which is actually not built to legal standards because the people who built it for her were not certified. They didn't know what they were doing. They were basically crooks. I'm going to actually use her foundation as a pedestal to make what is sort of a ghost of her house. And so that's really the shortest way to describe the piece. I've been back and done photographs and drawn this work and talked to Miss Sarah. And hopefully when you come out to the Lower Ninth Ward, you'll look kitty corner directly diagonal from the L line space.